Perhaps the most common question that any SET counselor or tutor will have to face from their students is how much time should I study for SET preparation? So here's an attempt to answer this question. The time that you should devote for SET preparation is a function of three things. First of all, what's the score that you desire to get? Secondly, what's your current score that you're getting on the practice tests that you're taking, so your current score? And thirdly, your test date. So now let's take a look on how each of these three components they'll help determine how much time you should devote for test preparation. So with regards to the first factor of desired score, the first thing that you should have in mind is that you should always aim for excellence. But one should also be realistic with regards to how much time they have got and what's achievable in that limited time available to the student. The second thing about your desired SAT score is that it's going to be largely influenced by your university considerations. So what universities are you applying to and what's the requirement for the test score for those universities? That's going to influence your desired score. So let's say you're aiming for something in the range of 1500 plus. My advice to students is always to have some buffer points. So if you are aiming for something 1500 plus, you should right now at your preparation stage be preparing for something like 1520 or even 1540 in order to have some buffer lest something goes wrong towards the end. So right now your desired score is 1540, for example. The next thing with regards to current score, whenever you start your test preparation, each Saturday you should have some time allotted for test preparation. Since the SAT is going to be on Saturday, so same as your final test conditions, you should be practicing SAT at a minimum each Saturday. So let's say in these current sessions of test practice, you're scoring something in the range of 1300. So that gives a point deficit of 240 that you have to cover. Since you are currently scoring 1300 and you're aiming for a score of 1540, that means you have to improve your score by at least 240 points. So having discussed the desired score and the current score, now let's move to the test date. Since the next test it's going to be on 27th August, so the maximum last date that you can prepare for the test it's going to be 26th August. I always recommend students to have a few days as buffer towards the end. So let's say I want to complete all my preparation 100% 5 days before the test date. So that means I have to finish my preparation by 21st August latest. So if I have to finish my preparation by 21st August and today, as I mentioned, is 13th July, that gives me a total of 39 days in between. And if I divide this number over 7, that means I'll have roughly 5 Saturdays in between in which I'm going to practice my mock sets. Now connecting the score deficit of 240 that I have to improve in these 39 days, we have to understand something, that the score improvement of first 100 points is going to take less effort as compared to the same score improvement of 100 points for the next range. So for example, if I want to improve my score from the range of 1300 to 1400, it might take something like 40 hours of study to improve this. But for the same improvement of 100 more points from 1400 to 1500, it would take roughly double the time it took me for the previous 100 point range. So it would take me around 80 hours. And now in order to make it further go up from 1500 to 1540, it will take roughly the same amount of time, so 80 more hours. So in total, in this particular given scenario, I'll have to study roughly 200 hours to improve my score from 1300 to 1540. Now these 200 hours are to be covered in 39 days calculated before. So that means I'll have to study something like 5 hours daily in order to have an improvement of my score from 1300 to 1540. So in the end, something to keep in mind is that this time that you have to allocate daily for your studies, which in this case turns out to be 5 hours, it's really a function of how much is your score deficit and how many days have you got left between right now and your test date. So if the number of days between right now and the date of your test, it increases, the daily hours that you have to study, this will go down, or the score deficit, it goes down, then the number of hours that you have to study, that will decrease. On the contrary, if you have got fewer days and more score deficit to cover up, then this daily number of hours that you'll have to study, this number would go up.